This is Brent Allan Winters, commonlawyer.com, www.commonlawyer.com, coming at you from the remote hinterlands of the Wabash River Valley, where the hogs, the frogs, and the dogs keep up a racket all night long. I'm here today with the other elder at In Church, Montana Dan. He's kind enough to help us, a little more technically adept than myself. But this year, Montana Dan, this year is the 50th anniversary of Operation Frequent Wind. And I'm watching the internet, and I don't see anything about it much at all. I haven't seen anything. Now, there's things on the internet about it, but nothing about the anniversary. And I was recently in Charleston, South Carolina, within the last few weeks, and I met men there who were at their 50th year reunion, men that had participated in Operation Frequent Wind. Well, I have a friend, a veteran, that participated in Operation Frequent Wind, and he was kind enough to say, yeah, I'll come on and tell what I know about it. You know, you don't know much about, really, we don't know much about military operations. Listen to the news and all that. You learn about military operations by talking to boots on the ground, the eyewitnesses. And this is an eyewitness of what happened. And he, from the viewpoint of a sailor on an aircraft carrier, his name is Steve Millman. Steve has agreed to come on. We got him on. Good to have you here, Steve, and thanks for coming on.
Well, thanks for having me, Brent.
Steve doesn't talk unless he has to, and he feels like he has to if I ask him questions. And so I'm going to do that. Steve, if you would start by telling us, these are the things that interest me. Tell us where you grew up.
I grew up on a farm in southeast South Dakota, about 40 miles north of Sioux Falls.
Yeah, and you went to high school there.
Went to high school in Flandreau. You've been there. I know you have.
I've been there. That's right.
Yeah.
And after I first met you, not too long, you used to get newspapers from home, from the hometown, and you wanted me to look at all the pictures of the people graduating from high school there. And you thought it was interesting to look at all their last names, because a lot of them were Sioux Indians. I remember that. And they had what's that?
There was a government-run Indian school just on the other side of the river from the school I went to. Our names were, goofy enough, but we always, were kind of amused by some of the Indian names.
Oh, yeah.
We never made fun of them. It was just interesting to read them.
Yeah, they were different. And just within the last few weeks, I was in Idaho, and I ran into a girl checking me out in a grocery store that attended that school.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I said, where was it? And she told me, near Flandreau, South Dakota. And, of course, the light went on in my head because I know you. Well, so you went to school there. And when you got, you, of course, growing up on the farm, and you raised sheep and hogs, and you were dirt farmers, and somehow you decided back in the early 70s, or very early 70s, that you were going to join the Navy. Is that what happened?
Yeah. After I graduated from high school, a buddy of mine and I decided we were going to join the Air Force.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. And so we went through all the tests and got ready to sign all the papers, and the recruiter asked what day we wanted to go next week, and we both looked at each other and said, we'll let you know. Well, we never did. We didn't want to go that early. This was like July of 72.
Oh.
And my dad was an ex-Navy man from World War II, and he didn't want me going in the Air Force for whatever reason. So another neighbor of mine, a year ahead of me in high school, was going to join the Army. And I said, yeah, I'll go in with you on the buddy system. And I'd already done all the paperwork for enlistment. And again, my dad said, you don't want to join the Army and be washing out of a pot and sleeping in a tent. So he kind of steered me towards the Navy.
Yeah.
I had no clue what I wanted to do. I knew through his comments that he couldn't afford to put me through college. He wasn't very interested in going to college. So, yeah, I eventually signed up for the Navy by myself and headed off to boot camp in San Diego, California.
Oh, so that was in 1972, and you went to boot camp, and how long did that last?
I was in boot camp January 73 until March of 73.
Did you like it?
Not at first. But once we graduated, then you're not so much a little kid anymore, I guess. And then you go off to your A schools, and then I enjoyed it more.
Well, had you ever been away from home before?
Not for that long, no. We had been away from home, gone, from Sioux Falls to the Twin Cities, Minneapolis, St. Paul. We'd been up there. I'd taken a fishing trip to Canada when I graduated, and this was the first away from home.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. So you'd really never been out of the Midwest and been up in Canada some, but never out of that area.
No.
And you grew up with some kind of religion, didn't you?
I was raised Lutheran. My dad was Methodist. My mother was Lutheran. And she convinced him to switch to Lutheran. And, all of us 6 kids were raised Lutheran.
So then which one of your parents were Norwegians?
My mother. As far as she was concerned, and she told us, she was 100% Norwegian because both her parents were from Norway.
Oh, I see. We're talking your grandma and grandpa were from the old country.
Great-grandfather.
Oh, I see. Well, there's no limit to the questions I would ask, but I'll try to stick because I like to know about people's backgrounds. I have a childish interest in such things. Some of these things you've told me over the years, of course, but you grew up Lutheran there in Flanders, South Dakota, and there's a lot of Lutherans there, from what I understand. And then you end up going off to boot camp. Did you learn how to carry a rifle when you're in boot camp?
Yeah, and that was all we did with it, just carry it. There was no, like you did. There was the marching to and from. I think we did physical exercise every Saturday, but it was football practice in high school was more intensive than what we got.
Did you carry an M1?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. And you learned how to do the 16-count manual?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. So you learned how to keep your locker stowed away and all that, fold your clothes and go through inspections and marched everywhere you went in step.
Yep, it was all just getting you to conform, to take orders, to listen.
Did you get in trouble while you were there?
No, not once.
Well, I believe it. I had never asked you directly. I never knew you'd get in trouble otherwise, or go to captain's mast and all that. So after that, then they sent you all off to some specialized school then. Is that right?
Yes, they sent me to Jacksonville, Florida, to Aviation Ordnance School. That's where it was at the time. My younger brother later went to it when they had moved it to Tennessee, somewhere in Tennessee.
Millington, probably.
I think so.
Yeah, right out of Memphis.
So then, from end of March until, I believe, end of June, I was there, and then home for leave. Yes, go ahead.
Well, no, I want you to finish your sentence. You're home for what?
Leave. When when you transferred from boot camp to A school to your next duty station, you got, 7 days leave, something like that.
Yeah. What did they teach you when you went to that school in Jacksonville, Florida?
All about weapon system, the bombs, the missiles, the ammunition, the electronics equipment of the aircraft. They also taught math and can't remember what else. I didn't do very well at math.
Well, that's been over 50 years ago. I keep reminding myself. Hard to imagine.
Yeah.
But that's been a long time. That's history now. And that's why we're bringing you on. I haven't heard a lot of people say about this. You know what happened back in, we'll get to it, Lord willing, Operation Frequent Wind was well-known and pretty traumatic experience for a lot of people when it happened back in 1975. So you went through this school, you learned all about aircraft munitions, the 20 millimeter machine guns. You probably learned about small arms too, didn't you?
Yes. Yeah.
M16, 45, all that stuff they used to have.
Yep.
Yeah. And so then you probably excelled in school, didn't you?
I did. As a matter of fact, a funny side story. I was class, whatever you call it. I graduated with the highest honors in my class.
Yeah.
And I did not do very well. The only reason I got it was because the guy ahead of me, he was going to get it. Yeah. He decided the weekend before we graduated from the school to just go down to Jacksonville, Florida, and not come back. So by him doing that, I got the award for whatever.
Yeah, I see. For being having the best grades in the class.
Yeah. So then they pull you in, tell you to get your dress whites on and go see. I don't remember what his rate was. A captain, lieutenant commander. I don't know of the base in Jacksonville. And
some big shot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And he said, since you've been named honor student of your class, you tell me where you want to go for your next duty station.
Oh, okay.
And I was totally unprepared. I didn't know he was going to ask that question.
Yeah.
And he said, where do you want to go? And off the top of my head, it just came out, Japan.
Where?
And Japan.
Oh,
Japan. And he asked me why. And again, I wasn't prepared. And I said, sir, I'd like to buy a stereo. That's it. I'm not to serve my country, not to travel the world. I'm telling this officer in command of the base that I want to go to Japan to buy a stereo. And he said, we're gone.
Yeah. Well, you bought one, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I did.
They're cheaper there, aren't they?
Much cheaper, yeah.
At that time, anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you brought it back. At some point, you stowed it away in a magazine or something, I guess, right?
As soon as I bought a piece of it, I would mail it back to my oldest brother in South Dakota.
Oh, okay.
And then
he didn't steal it or sell it.
No, he put it all together and play it and make sure it all worked fine. Yep.
You had never told me that. I didn't know that you'd said that to that high-ranking officer. Well, he didn't laugh at you when you said it, or did he?
No. He just looked me dead in the eye and said, "Fine, you're done. You're going."
Okay. So, all right. So, did you make straight A's when you were in high school?
No, far from it. No.
Or were you like me? I'm one of those guys that made the top half of my graduating class possible because I was in the bottom half, you know.
Yeah, great. There you go. I pulled C's and occasional B. That was about it.
Well, so then when you went off to this school down in Jacksonville, you have the fellow that went AWOL to thank that you were at the top of the class, but whatever happened to him? Did they throw him in the brig for his rest of his life, or what?
I don't remember, Brent. I know he just decided he wasn't. He didn't leave the service. He just didn't come back for graduation.
Oh.
So that's why they handed me the honor student thing. And
okay.
Yeah, I wasn't that bright. The electronics part always threw me, and math threw me, but I got some tutoring and. You know, when they finally said, you got to learn this stuff, then yeah, so I did.
Oh, okay.
So he was much smarter.
Okay, so you were 18 or 19 at that point?
I was still 18.
All right, and then so they shipped you out. You went home probably again to say goodbye to your parents.
Yep.
And then they put you on a plane or something and shipped you to the West Coast. Or where'd they send you to get over to? Across the ocean to Japan?
Well, first they sent me to San Diego for more training specific to the F-4 Phantom jet. That was the squadron I was going to be attached to. So we did training that was specific to the electronics and weapons of the F-4.
But now that's the Skyhawk.
It's the Phantom.
Oh, the Phantom. Yeah, okay. I got it.
And then after that training, that's where my squadron was before we left for overseas. Once the training was done and the squadron was ready to go, they flew up to NAS Alameda in Oakland, California.
Okay.
And then that's where we were flown up to get on the USS Midway.
So the USS Midway is a aircraft carrier?
Yes, sir.
How many? Well, you got on that thing. That's the first time you'd ever been on a warship.
Yeah.
And you just walked up the gangplank and said, I'm supposed to come here, and you gave them pieces of paper you're supposed to give them, and what'd they tell you?
Well, I had hooked up with my squadron in San Diego.
Yeah.
So a couple of petty officers took me under their wing and said, when we get up there, just stick with us. We'll get you on board, because they had just done a Westpac tour and had been back in the States for like 6 months, and then they were headed right back.
Okay,
so
yeah, go ahead.
These guys knew where we were going, where we were sleeping, eating, working, all of that.
So all those cruises of aircraft carriers in the Pacific from 1965 to 1973, when you got on, those were all combat cruises. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And they had been combat cruises to the South China Sea off the coast of Vietnam.
Yes.
Okay. So you were coming into a situation with a bunch of guys that had been on combat cruises, and you were thrown in with them, and they were getting ready to go back again.
Yes.
Okay. Well, this is Brent Allan Winters, commonlawyer.com. I'm here with Dan, Montana Dan, the other elder in church, and we're interviewing a veteran of Operation Frequent Wind. This is the 50th anniversary of Operation Frequent Wind. Its history, as that one fellow says on the internet, that deserves to be remembered, and not much is being said about it. And that's why I want to say something about it. It's an important part of our history and what happened there to understand it. And so I have a veteran of that operation on, Mr. Steve Millman. Well, this is Brent. You can find us at commonlawyer.com, www.commonlawyer.com, and you can see there when we're on the internet and the different live programs we have, Saturdays, Sundays, and then also on the radio 5 days a week. But we're going to do another video, a follow-up on this, so be watching for it. See you there.